Hey everyone, welcome to the Sports Hub Podcast presented by Van Ganaway Chevrolet. I'm your host, Kyle Coppola. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to thank our partners that make it all happen. Of course, Van Ganaway Chevrolet, Lake Center Home Care, Lake Sumter State College, Lasseterware Insurance with Auto Owners Insurance. And our podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and our website, lakeandsumterstyle.com. Today, we are talking with Drew Chaltry, the Communications Director with Brave SC. Drew, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. It's nice to talk to you in front of a camera for once. So usually we spend all our time behind the scenes.
Yeah, we announce a lot for the Villages Charter School for their soccer program over there, and you do a ton of work with Brave SC. For those of you who are wondering what Brave SC is all about, they were previously the Villages SC, and you guys have rebranded this year. Really exciting things coming your way.
Yes. Had been the Villages SC since 2008 when the youth club was founded there, decided at the end of 2023 to kind of take things in a new direction. We can get into some of all the reasoning and meaning behind that and stuff like that. But yes, we are now, as of December of last year, Brave SC.
Yeah, and so Villages SC, they were the soccer club in the area, started in 2008 and kind of moved your way through the area. Can you just talk about kind of some of the history of Villages, now Brave SC, and where you guys are at coming into 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, we feel like we're in a really good spot. We're making a lot of advancements, a lot of things that have been in the works for a long time. So the club was founded in 2008, like you said, as a youth soccer club by Anderson Da Silva, who is still the head coach and director of coaching for the youth program. And in 2008, we didn't have a lot of kids, but have grown since then, now have almost 200 between our recreation and competitive programs throughout the year. In 2016, we brought the Ocala Stampede, a semi-professional side in what was then the United Soccer League's Premier Development League, brought that down to the Villages and added our first pre-professional team. So for those who maybe don't know about what USL League 2 is, as it's now known, it's similar to the Leesburg Lightning, where it's like a collegiate summer league for high-level players, but on a national scale. So 137 teams across the whole country, and they compete in divisions and then in regional conferences and then for a national title as well over the summer. So we've had a lot of success with the USL League 2 program. We've got some awesome players that have come from all over the country, from high-level D1 colleges, D2 colleges, NAIA, JUCO, and we've sent some on to the professional ranks as well. And we've also now made that an option. A lot of our youth players have come up through the program and are making that jump to USL2.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff that you have going on, and it's not just kids coming from across the country. It's not just kids coming from overseas. They're right here in Lake County as well. You've got a program that these kids can come through. We have some kids at the high school that are on the team as well at the Villages Charter School, which is really exciting.
Yeah, we've gotten some great talent that has come up through this area recently. And again, a handful of those guys that have come up through the youth program, again, with what was the Villages SC, have been in that program for years, are now kind of making that leap. There's a handful of guys that we think have real college potential, a couple guys who are thinking maybe about futures in professional soccer. And so we've created this path to pro, as we say. It starts at the youth level. We take them all the way up. We have a USL Academy team. They compete on a state wide and then a national basis at the highest level of that. And then last year we actually added a UPSL, which is United Premier Soccer League team, which is another pre-professional league. It's a slightly lower level of competition than USL League 2, but it's made a nice bridge for our high-level youth players before they're ready for USL League 2. So we've seen a lot of success with that as well, and you can kind of see the results. Like you said, a lot of the guys at the Villages High School right now have played for the USL Academy and the USL or UPSL team. Sorry, it's a lot of U's.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For the high school and the UPSL team, you're kind of seeing right now the confidence that they're playing with and the level that those guys are at. So we're really pleased with how that has kind of worked out in terms of having that bridge. And so we're excited to get more of our local players into our highest level program, our first team.
Yeah, that bridge is continuing to build each and every year. You know, you start to see people were coming out to the games last year. A lot of support in the Villages and the Sumter County community. And I think that's based on where the field was located too. Obviously at the old Villages High School. Villages has now moved their high school to a brand new, beautiful facility. If you haven't seen it, go on our go on our Facebook page. We've posted some pictures about it in the past, but they played there. They're thinking maybe they play there. You're not sure where they're going to play this year, but still up in the air.
Yeah, so when we first started, we played games at the polo fields in the villages, and then in 2019 opened the first of our 3 fields that are currently at our complex in Summerfield. And, we have lights and everything like that for them, which is great. So we played games there for a couple of years, but what we realized is a lot of our fan base was kind of cut off from where we were playing for a long time. We'd always been, golf cart accessible and stuff like that at the polo field. So we decided to move things back inside the villages where there was a little more infrastructure at the Buffalo Ridge campus there and stuff like that. And we did see a lot of people kind of return to the games that hadn't been coming out to where we were again. So we're working on building things up over at our complex, but that's going to take some time. And so, but those things are in the works. We can, maybe a year from now, we'll be back on the podcast and we'll be talking about some exciting stuff. But so just moving it back inside the villages, we've been very grateful for the partnership with them and with the high school and the Buffalo Stampeders over the years, allowing us to utilize those facilities, and it worked out great for us last year.
That's so exciting because not only has Villages SC rebranded, you have a lot of exciting things coming your way. Let's talk about the rebrand for a second. How did that all come about? Like you guys were Villages SC for a while. Why the rebrand now?
So that was something that was in the works for a couple of years, in discussions for a couple of years. And first of all, we were very grateful that when Anderson first started the club, that the Villages was kind enough to license us the name for free. Mm-hmm. They just allowed us to call it the Villages SC. We put the trademark, the big The Villages logo that everybody recognizes in the crest and everything like that. But the issues eventually happen when you don't own the entirety of your own logo, mm-hmm. and things like that. And so there were just some snafus and confusion a little bit on both sides. I think a lot of people thought that we were owned by the Villages, or that you had to be in the charter schools to play for the youth club and stuff like that. And so we have a great fan base inside the Villages, and again, we're appreciative of everything that we've been able to do inside the Villages, both at the polo fields, at the high school, things like that. And we're excited to keep those partnerships, keep growing those partnerships, but also we thought that Brave SC kind of was a better way to embrace the communities around us in Marion Lake and Sumter counties that have really started to support us over the last mm-hmm. couple of years. So we wanted to be a little bit more inclusive to those folks as well. We still consider ourselves, very closely tied to the Villages. But we also, again, didn't want to exclude anyone who might assume that we weren't open to folks from outside.
And I love the colors that you chose this year. Really a departure from the previous colors, but still a lot of things that are similar. You, of course, still have the buffalo head, which I think is pretty cool. You can see on Drew's shirt there. And you get the state of Florida that runs right through the left eye of the buffalo. It's a pretty cool logo.
Yeah, that was actually one of the conditions when Anderson founded the club and asked if he could call it the Villages SC. The Villages said, yeah, okay, but we'd like you to be the buffalo, which of course is the mascot for the Village Charter Schools and has a lot of history in that area. And he said, okay. And so we've really embraced that. We love being the buffalo. We've got a mascot and stuff like that at games, Buff. And so we've always really embraced being part of the buffalo. So when we did make the change, we wanted the buffalo to remain the same. We kept the Florida-shaped scar over the face. Mm-hmm. We think makes them look kind of tough. But
yeah.
And then you can also see, if you take a closer look at our crest, that in the word brave at the top, the V is highlighted. It's an alternate color. Mm-hmm. We do it in gold, where the rest of the text is like that dark kind of maroonish brown. But that V being highlighted is kind of a tribute to our time as the Villages SC.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff you got going on. We're going to take a short break here on the Sports Hub podcast. We'll come back. We'll talk about Anderson De Silva and what we can expect in the 2024 season coming up for Brave SC next on the Sports Hub. Are you in need of a new car or truck? Then zoom into Van Ganaway Chevrolet, a company that has always been driven by superior customer service. Van Ganaway Chevrolet is your hometown good folk Chevrolet dealer. The dealership has helped generations of Lake County families find the perfect car, truck, or SUV. After 37 years and thousands of Chevrolets sold, Van Ganaway has learned a lot about their customers. They don't want to be pressured, and they don't need a gimmick or giveaway. They just want fair prices and a great overall car buying experience. If you've had bad experiences purchasing automobiles elsewhere, then switch gears and try Van Ganaway Chevrolet. Chances are you'll end up being a part of the ever-growing family of satisfied and loyal customers. Check out Van Ganaway Chevrolet at vgchevy.com or call them today at 352-343-2400. Van Ganaway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sports Hub podcast presented by Van Ganaway Chevrolet. Thanks for joining us. We got Drew Chaltry talking to us from Brave SC, recently rebranded from the Villages SC, and really exciting stuff we got going on this year for Brave SC. You are coming off of a championship that you were able to win last year. You were part of the Southern Conference champions. You won that in 2018 and 2023. So really exciting things. You nearly made it to the championship game last year.
Almost penalty kicks away, overtime and penalty kicks. Last season was awesome. The team that we had was incredible. I think pretty unequivocally the best season we've ever had, winning both the Southeast Division, which is mostly or entirely teams from the state of Florida, and then going on to that conference, which is sort of a southeast region of the United States. That regional beat some great teams to get there. Last year's competition I thought was really, really strong. But the team that we had was great, defeated teams from South Carolina, North Carolina, Arkansas, and Virginia.
Wow.
To get there. So, I mean, the Virginia team's the one that ended up doing us in there at the end. But, I mean, just a really, really good run. And again, an incredible group of guys that we had. And one of the things that we've been adamant about from the beginning, and this is a credit to Anderson De Silva, who has kind of built a culture there. But, we're not just looking for great players. We're looking for great players who fit the culture that we have at the club. And so the reason that we've had so much success and the reason that guys come back year after year in a lot of cases is because they've built such a strong culture there. And that's kind of what you need to, in a very short season, there's not time for things to spiral. And so you need guys who have a bond that can come together and handle adversity. And I thought that last year's team did an incredible job of that.
And it's very similar to the Leesburg Lightning. They got a short season as well. Not a lot of time for a team to bond in about 2 months roughly you have for your season. What are you, about 2-3 months? I would say.
We start games in May, and the last round of the playoffs is end of July, early August.
Yeah, so it goes by quickly.
It really does. Yeah.
much like the soccer season we got going on right now. Coach De Silva is not only the coach of Brave SC, he's also the coach of the varsity soccer team that the Villages has, having a pretty good season as well. So he's a busy guy. I'm not sure how he balances it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never met someone who has as many pokers and as many fires as Anderson De Silva. But he dreams big, and it's the reason that we have a pre-professional side. It's the reason that we added a second team last year. It's the reason that we opened an international youth club this year. We have our first international affiliate now in Rio de Janeiro. So,
wow.
We're doing big things, and it's because we have a guy at the top who has big visions for it. And so we're super excited about everything that he has planned for the club. Happy to, be supporting and making those visions come true. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the fact that he can do everything that he does just in terms of running the club, but then also that he has such attention and focus on the coaching as well is really impressive.
Yeah, and it's really exciting too, because it all starts from the bottom. You started from the bottom, now you're here, right?
Right.
Exactly. But really, when you think about the youth programs and the Stampeder program that you've set up, that has been such a joyous thing to have in our community, to have that. And it's not just Villages athletes that can compete in the Stampeders program. It's athletes from all over Lake and Sumter County and all around the state that can come and compete at a very high level. It's really great.
Yeah, we actually just entered into an official partnership with the Stampeders this past year. And part of what we're doing with them as of right now is we're running our recreation soccer program, the same one that we've done at our complex in Summerfield. Mm-hmm. We're going to be running that at Middleton at their campus at the Villages High School now. So that's going to start the first week of February. Registration is open in case anyone is interested in getting a kid into that. And like Kyle said, it's not limited to kids who are eligible for or in the charter schools. You can be from Leesburg, you can be from Sumterville, you can be from Wildwood. You can go to the Villages High School or Villages charter schools and attend those. But it's one of the most important things that we do is that recreation soccer program, because that is the introduction for a lot of kids and a lot of parents, a lot of families to the game of soccer. And part of our mission is to grow the sport in the area. And so that recreation program has been a big part of that. And it's kind of the foundation for everything that we do.
And you can see that it's working too, because the Village's charter school and a couple of these other programs, they do have a lot of young kids that are already playing on varsity teams. You mentioned the Village's girls team. They got a 6th grader playing on a varsity team right now. I believe that's Tanya Wynn.
Tanya Wynn, yeah, she's outstanding.
Which is amazing. You talk about her.
Yeah, shout out to Tanya Wynn. Coming up through our youth program, like you said, 6th grader starting on varsity. She's actually in the Olympic Development Program in Orlando right now, which is how the United States national teams select their underage groups. So when you see like the U23, U18, U10, whatever, champions or federation champions and stuff like that, this is part of that process. So we actually have 3 players, including Tanya, who are in Orlando right now going through that tryout process. It starts with a mass tryout, and then they kind of whittle it down and end up with an Orlando team, and then they'll compete against other teams from Florida, and they'll whittle that down to a Florida team, and then they'll compete against the Southeast region, and they'll whittle that down, and then eventually they'll play like a national championship, and from there they'll select a national team for every age group. But we recommend players for that program every year. We hope that our 3 kids who are in there right now continue to go deep into that. But, maybe one day we'll have a U.S. national team player that's coming from Brave SC. That's, one of the dreams, and, just something that would be super cool. We love being a part of the U.S. soccer system, part of that pyramid, and occupying multiple levels of it. And, we're really excited for what a lot of our younger kids are doing right now, and how so many of them now are starting to take bigger steps within the game of soccer.
Yeah, it's building so fast. I feel like just the last couple of years, Brave SC has just exploded in our area. Not only has Brave SC exploded, you've got the Leesburg Lightning. They're packing the stands. So it's really great to see the community come out and support these programs that really need the support. It's really good to see.
Yeah, we've been super grateful for all of the people who have come to support us. We get emails every year from people who are like, "Oh, we had no idea you were out there. How do we come to games?" and stuff like that. And so we love when people share, posts and stuff about us, information about us, because it does generate interest. I think a lot of folks, aren't familiar with, again, what USL League 2 is, and they're not necessarily aware that there's a high level program that's so close by. And so, you've got a team that, again, competes on a national level, wins championships, has players from all around the country, from overseas, as well as locally competing at a high level like that. And so I think when people discover it, a lot like the Lightning, once they discover it, they're like, wow, this is actually, this is really good. Games are fun. We've got 2 supporter groups, which is great. They kind of bring that soccer atmosphere. They've got the drums, they got the horns, they got the smoke bombs that they set off at the game. So it's been really fun to see that, because that's something that, especially in our division, we don't see a lot of in other places. So we're really grateful that people have really embraced not just the sport, but specifically our team in the area.
Yeah, the supporter section, always very important for soccer teams. Whether you go to an Orlando City game, you go to my team growing up was the New England Revolution, one of the originals. And every time you go to the game, it's the supporters that really make a soccer game happen. If you've never been to a soccer game, if you ever go to a supporters section, boy, you're going to have a lot of fun.
It's always the best place to watch a game. I love being in the press box, but second choice would be right there in that supporter section for sure.
Absolutely. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open, and you guys are going to be in that this year, which is really exciting. We're going to be right back on the Sports Hub in a minute.
Here we go, Billy. Swing hard.
As your local agent, I know you. I know every Saturday your son Billy plays Little League. We sponsor his team. And we know you love parking way too close to the field. That's why we tailor a unique policy for you and your car. Because sometimes something from out of left field can literally come from out of left field. That's simple human sense.
Ask Lassiter Ware in Leesburg if auto owners make sense for you.
Welcome back to the Sports Hub podcast presented by Van Ganaway Chevrolet. Thanks for joining us back here talking with Drew Chaltry. And Drew, we're really excited for Brave SC this year. It used to be Villages SC, but rebranded to Brave SC if you were joining us earlier. They're going to be playing for the 6th time in their history in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open, and that's one of the oldest contested soccer championships in the United States.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's soccer teams from all different levels, so MLS all the way down through the different tiers of USL 1 to these semi-professional and pre-professional sides, as well as open qualifiers. So you can, play in a league in Orlando and eventually qualify, and there's a chance, if lightning just happens to land in that bottle, that you end up playing against a professional team at some point with your pickup guys. But it's a really fun competition. It's one that we've always enjoyed being a part of. It has gotten more difficult for USL League 2 teams in the last couple of years because the timeline has been moved up. So the competition starts in March now. We don't get our college players until May when they're released by the NCAA. So that does provide some challenges, but it's also a really exciting opportunity for us to take more local players to big level competition like that. The last several times that we've been in the Cup, we've won our first round. We've had to go to Tampa Bay and face the Rowdies, and we like to think that competition would be a little bit closer if we were playing it in July rather than in early April. But we're excited just to have that opportunity. We're excited to once again bring a first round game to the Villages, which we got to do 2 years ago, the last time we were in the Open Cup. And again, really, really excited to be back in it this year.
Yeah, really exciting things. And think about it for those kids too, going to play a professional club like Tampa Bay Rowdies. That breeds success for the future of your program as well, to play competition like that.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Mueller, who played at the Villages High School, was our keeper the last time that we were in the Open Cup, and he was, I believe, in his senior year of high school at that time, and he's now playing college soccer, and he took a little bit of a beating playing against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but also that experience was valuable. Getting to see what a shot looks like coming off the foot of a true paid professional soccer player, and so we're always excited for the opportunity for our players, for the exposure, for a chance to just bring different players through the program, and again, to take ourselves up against that higher level and just kind of see where we stand with the guys that we've developed in the area and stuff like that. So it's a really fun competition. And again, the prestige of the U.S. Open Cup, it's just awesome to be a part of that. I talked earlier about, just how proud we are to be part of that U.S. soccer pyramid. And the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is really, the most prestigious tournament that is run by the Federation.
There were some rumblings this year that potential MLS teams were not going to compete maybe in the U.S. Open Cup, which to me would have been kind of a disaster, but I like the fact that they're going to be competing alongside everybody this year. I think it makes it fair.
Yeah, it was a little bit nice to see U.S. soccer kind of push back a little bit and say, basically what MLS did is once they were already seeded into the later rounds, where they get the automatic buys into the later rounds, they said, we're going to send our MLS Next Pro, our farm teams, to play these games. And U.S. Soccer was like, well, no, you're not. So, this tournament matters. And I'm glad that U.S. Soccer is asking MLS to kind of treat it that it does matter, because I think for a lot of fans and for a lot of fan bases, and especially for non-MLS clubs and non-MLS fans, it is a really big deal. So, I'm glad that they're continuing to kind of protect the integrity of the tournament.
And for you being the communications director for Brave FC, let's talk about your role. You came over this year, was doing some work with the Daily Sun, of course, ended up coming over to Brave FC. What's it been like working for Brave FC?
It's been awesome. It's fun to come in to work every day and just have new projects. Every single day there's a new development. We're growing in so many different ways and at incredible rates. And so it's been really fun just to kind of help with a project that is continually moving forward. And like I said, everything is different. Anderson De Silva is working on so many different things. And so I'll walk in thinking I'll just be, planning out some social media posts for down the line or whatever. And I come in, it's like, hey, we need this presentation for this group from Portugal or something like that. Like it's all kinds of different things. The people that have come through have been awesome, just interacting with people from different clubs, different organizations. We now have a partnership with Lake United FC in Leesburg, helping them launch a competitive program. So working with them has been awesome as well. So we're just super excited. I'm super excited about all of the different things that we're doing, and just all of the different directions that we can kind of take on a lot of stuff.
For sure. There's so many different directions. One of the directions I really love is the Buffalo experience that you all offer for Villages SC. I guess your Buffalo experience is a residential program for players all over the world. Can
Yes.
you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, this is one of the coolest things that I think we do as a club is we offer hyper personalized training for high level athletes. And so we started the Buffalo Experience program a while ago. Basically what it is a player can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be international. It can even be a local player, but they come for a certain amount of time. They stay at the complex. We have a house there. Their meals are taken care of, everything like that. But they get to go through tactical, physical, nutritional evaluations. They get to do skills training. They get to work one-on-one with the coaches. They get to learn how to break down their own film, break down opponent film. They get, again, a nutritional plan to help them develop in the areas where they need to as athletes. And so we've offered that kind of training to our USL League 2 teams. We're starting to offer it to a lot of our youth players as well, get them involved, especially in the nutritional stuff early, really set them up for success. But that Buffalo Experience program is something that, you know, we've been offering. We've seen some players that have come through. A couple of professional clubs in the United States have sent players from their academies, their high level youth clubs and stuff like that to us to do some of those things, and the results have been really cool. And part of the reason that we rebranded when we changed from the Villages SC to Brave SC is the SC now stands for Sporting Club, not Soccer Club, because down the line we want to be able to use those tools to help athletes in other sports. So our local football, basketball, lacrosse, whatever, a lot of the same things translate: explosiveness, verticality, and of course the nutrition. We really believe that we can help players become better athletes, not just soccer players. And so we want to be able to offer some of those tools that we have to our local athletes and help them advance in other sports as well.
That's so cool. And the players have bought into the system as well.
Oh, yeah.
So some of the reviews that you have on your site from some of these players, I'm just going to read one from Mathia Tiepo. I believe that's how you say his name. He says, and I quote, "In some teams I've played in the past, I would arrive and have some sort of negative surprise, but that's not the case when he got here. He was pleasantly surprised, and he was really excited to play for Villages SC last year, now Brave SC." Yeah,
shout out to Matthias. Really, really incredible player. He was our goalkeeper last year on that team that, again, won the Southern Conference. And I had a lot of conversations with him last year about just how incredible his experience had been just because he showed up. And again, this goes back to that culture that I talked about earlier that Anderson Da Silva has been so adamant about, that when guys come here, we're not treating them like just a player on our team. They're a family. So we take care of their personal needs. Again, we supply, the laundry service, the food, the housing and stuff like that. But, we also want to make sure that guys show up here and they're spending 3 months of their lives with us, that they're trusting us with their soccer development, helping them get to a professional level. So we want them to understand that we care about their development. And so that's been a really big thing, and also attracting guys who are also invested in their teammates, doing well, and the team success feeds into that as well. So all of that stuff is kind of built into what we are, and I don't think that we would get to the point where we are today or where we want to go without a culture like that in place.
What do you think, where do you see the Villages Brave SC now in the next couple of years?
I mean, it's hard to say exactly where you're going to be. There's so many things that you never know exactly how fast they're going to happen. I remember in 2017, it was my first year working at the Daily Sun, and I was covering the club for the paper, and they had just lost I think they lost or drew their last game maybe, and it was the 1 year in the club's history that they didn't make the playoffs coming out of the Southeast Division. And I was going to do the postseason story, and I texted Anderson and I said, "Hey, can I just come by to talk to you for a little?" He says, "Yeah, come by the house where the players stay." I was like, "Okay." So I get out there, it's a nice ranch house, and he's just standing out and looking out at these cow pastures that are out behind the house. And I walk up, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, coach?" And he says, "One day this is all going to be soccer fields." And I was like, "Okay, well, we'll see about that." But 2 years later, there were soccer fields there. So, and in 2020, a year later, they had lights on them and everything else. So, it's hard for me to project, but I never know exactly how fast something's going to happen. I know that we've got big things in the works, not everything that I'm at liberty to discuss right now, but we do have further plans for development at that complex. And, we're looking to keep moving forward. And I'd love to come back and talk more with you about some of that stuff when we're a little further down the road.
Absolutely. And you start your season in May.
May.
So maybe we'll try to get you back on the program in May, see how the program's going, see if we can get some kids in here.
Absolutely.
Talk about how things are going. So, Drew, thank you so much for coming on the program today. Really wish you luck with the best of your season coming up. You got some real exciting things that you're working on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a joy to just sit down and talk about the club with someone. But we're really excited as well, and we appreciate you helping us get the word out.
Absolutely. Thanks, Drew. I want to thank our partners, Van Ganaway Chevrolet, Lake Center Home Care, Lake Sumter State College, Laster Ware Insurance with Auto Owners Insurance, and of course our podcast available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and our website, lakeandsumterstyle.com. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Hub podcast. We'll see you next week.